Welcome to Pains Don't Hide the Scars podcast. On this episode, Kratom, what you need to know. Mr. Andersen, how are we, good sir?
I'm good, Jason. How about you?
I do well. I do well. Good to
Always
see your
do.
virtual face. Hey, I'm in long-term recovery, man. Life was good.
There you go.
I got a life I couldn't have imagined at one point.
Right.
But I wanted to talk with you because you did a report the other day, ABC 30, about what the FDA is doing around Kratom. I want to get more into that, but I first want to know what Kratom is. And like I was telling you before we hit that old record button, I remember when I worked in broadcast radio, the head shops doing these ads of come on down and get your this, that, and the other thing, and Kratom was in there, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But never, never had any curiosity to look it up. So, what really is Kratom?
Well, the real easy explanation is that kratom is a plant. It's a plant-based item it's really odd. It can give you two effects. It obviously gives you that opioid effect. But at first, like an opioid does, it gives you that bump. It gives you that oh, let's go, kind of feeling. And then at some point it starts to level out, and then it starts to drop down. And then the more you take of it, it's interesting, the stronger it becomes. Okay. It's a powerful drug. It's, quote, a natural ingredient. But I have this funny feeling. By the way, it's been around a long time.
Hmm.
Okay, a long time. In fact, when I was meeting with Channel 30, I was telling them about another plant-based benzodiazepine type plant called kava, which of course in my heyday, back in the mid 90s, I used it tremendously and wound up with a psychotic break and wound up in the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, so these quote natural drugs, we don't really know what the potency levels can be, and I think it's because of one reason. As an opiate addict, again, I'm constantly chasing that high, right? And so if I don't have the drug that I need, whether it's an oxy, whether it's a Percocet, whether it's heroin, or even fentanyl, I'm going to go get something that's going to give me that type of feeling. So lo and behold, I'm going to go get the kratom. But what happens is, now that you're taking the kratom, you're also going to be hunting down the drug that you need, the other opioid that you need. So now you're taking both. And that's where the disastrous end comes for most people in this. Yeah. Then, of course, you always know now that you have that as a backup, right? So as that backup, now you think you're okay, when in fact you're not. All of these drugs, whether it's that plant-based opiate, whether it's a pharmaceutical opiate, it changes our brain structure. It changes how we think, how we feel, how we act. It gives us the depression that we need. It also gives us the anger that we show because of it. And so what the FDA and the DCHS and everybody else is trying to do here, and what I think they don't realize, is that since it's been around such a long time, this has been done before. So what happens is the manufacturer of these will obviously put the ingredients on the label. Well, then when the FDA comes, or the FDA finally notices that this stuff's in a market, they're going to look at the ingredient packet. Well, then they're going to say, oh, well, here's an ingredient on here that is illegal. You can't put this on here. So now we need to take all of this stuff off the shelves. What happens is that manufacturer changes that one ingredient on the package and then reships it to the seller. And now they've got to go through the whole process all over again. Right. They're just changing one ingredient on it. Now, this particular kratom is called 7-OH. And so I believe it's a little different than the past ones, but again, it's powerful. It's powerful. Kids don't realize it. Oh, they're selling it via ice cream. They're selling it via flavored gummies. So if an adult is taking one, and especially the gummy or the ice cream, and that gummy is left out, and your 5-year-old sees a piece of candy sitting on the counter, I know this is a long shot, but it's still a reality. That 5-year-old is going to take that gummy, and that 5-year-old could wind up dead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I always find it interesting how you brought up plant-based, where people will, and I see it as a justification. Well, they'll call certain things plant medicine. It's like, well, okay, what do you think heroin comes from? What do you think cocaine comes from? To me, it always just sounds like some sort of justification around it. It's they like to throw the word natural in there, and these are the good advertising. A good term I heard was silent assassins around it. Is it's a nice to state natural plant and connect those words when they market it to you, that it's as if you can just go out in nature and there you go, pick it up, and just the same. And that's not the case. So I
No,
always am fascinated around the marketing of this stuff and how it's presented and how that gets in the zeitgeist of people.
right. I go back literally to a movie that I saw, I want to say back in the 80s. And again, I can't remember the name of the movie, but they were in Colombia, and some of the runners, the drug runners in those days, they would actually chew the leaf of the coca plant, right? So and again, this is probably going to be a little controversial, but if you're just chewing that coca plant, now you are getting whatever that natural high is off of that plant. Once you start manufacturing that, you need to add ingredients to it that are going to keep it longer, keep the coloring to it, whatever the case may be. So you're going to add those other ingredients, and then people can get a little goofy on this, and they start adding certain ingredients that are going to enhance that high that's coming from that natural plant. So yes, you are absolutely right. The marketing of this thing is what's dangerous and what is killing people, because most of these people, I'm sorry, I'll just say it, they are not decent.
Mm-hmm.
They're scrupulous.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make money. They don't care if somebody gets addicted to it. And the other side of this coin, for us that do what we do, and particularly in the treatment industry, there are no drug tests for them.
Mm.
So if somebody comes into a treatment center and they shove Kratom up their ass to bring it in, and it happens, I mean, it happens more than everybody realizes, right? All of a sudden, we're looking at this person and go, wow, there's something wrong here. We know when there's something wrong, and we can't find it.
Yeah.
Now, again, we do our research and we search and we do this and we do that and whatnot, and we finally get to the point. But it's just another step, that we have to take in order to help this person out. So it's trouble. I'm sorry. It's simply trouble. And as we look at what we're going through in this society today, there doesn't seem to be any slowdown of any of this.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. We always talk about the addiction piece to this. We talk about, okay, DEA, you're stopping X amount of fentanyl pills from coming over, but even though you're never going to stop all of them from coming over, they're always going to find a way to get it into us. What do you have left over? You've got the addiction issue.
Yeah.
You've got the addict that's out there. And by the way, most addicts aren't homeless. They're living next door to everybody. They're on their hunt every day for their drug. There's more addicts out there than what people even realize, but we don't have enough resources to take care of these people. So we still have the problem. We still have the root problem. And whether it's the Trump administration, well, I know it wasn't the Biden administration or the Obama administration, nobody's talking about that piece.
Right. Right.
We can stop what we want. I mean, if we wanted to, we're the most powerful country in the world. Send a few jets over there and bomb the hell out of those guys. Okay. And guess what? Things are at minimum going to slow down, but we still have the problem.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com. I was actually having a conversation about that last night, that the capability might be there to do it, and it probably is, but that underlying issue, there's always the big why. Why did somebody enter it? You and I have whys. There are a multitude of things, genetics, environment, and so on. And this wonderful complex thing that sits atop our head that's thousands and thousands of years old, that seeks pleasure and avoids pain. So, you couple that with environment and, hereditary stuff and life circumstance, all that in there. Yeah, we're still dealing with this why, and it's I know for me, a very immature and childish in my addiction, very immature and childish adult that was walking around with no ability to develop the new coping skills, processing, so on and so forth. So yeah, we're stuck with still the big why. Like we can we can cut that head off the dragon, of this two-headed dragon or three-headed, however you want to look at it. Doesn't change the reality of addiction in itself.
Not at all. Not at all. There's this new guy on TikTok that I really like. Obviously a lot of TikTok I dismiss, and because it's either AI or it's crap or it's something. But there's this one guy on there, and the reason why I bring this up is he's just a normal guy, right? He's probably 45 years old. He's good looking. He's all this stuff. He's got a personality that just overflows. And he's just talking about life in general, and how much he's got left over after his paycheck, and the fact that he's got to go spend $13 for a latte, and and he's got 42 cents in his checking account after the bills get paid, and and the depression and everything that comes with it, and he does this humorously, so it's funny, but he's absolutely right. Now, you put a lot of people into that position, which there are. You just said something very important. It's that pleasure receptor in our brain that we want. We want this ugliness to go away. People don't know how to deal with ugliness. They don't know how to deal with pressure. They don't know how to deal with, okay, somebody's knocking on your door because they want the PG&E payment, or they want the rent payment, or they want whatever. And so how do you make that go away? You go to the store and you buy some Kratom.
Yeah.
You find out where you can get, where you can get a Vicodin or a Xanax from a doctor, and that starts the whole process. Yeah. So there's more to this, like you said, than anybody realizes. And I think there are some people that realize this. I just feel at this point in our society, people are tired, and they're just tired of talking about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've definitely seen and felt that throughout the past couple of years. And I mean, we've been in the strong fight around it, and it really has inexplicably, to me, died down.
Mhm.
And I'm not really sure why. If it's just like, oh, this is the acceptance of the way that it is and how things are going to be. I don't really know what it is.
Well, I believe that there is a part of this, and I don't know to what extent or how big the part is. But I always go back to a few people I have tried to help over the years.
Hmm.
And in particularly, I go to this mid 30 to mid 40-year-old range because that's the age range that I have dealt with people and their loved ones that are dealing with addiction over the years. But now we are, and I would love somebody to try to argue this with me. The majority of this age group, I'm not talking about 60-year-olds right now, but the majority of this age group of that 30-ish to mid 40 range, the parents smoke pot, the parents drink, they think it's okay. They, I've seen it. They let their kids do the same thing. They think it's cool. They want to be their friend. Plus, the parents still think it's cool to do. And at some point, not everybody, but at some point, there's going to be a problem there.
Hmm.
And it's not like it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, where a lot of these parents would notice their kids' behavioral changes and say, hey, there's something wrong here. And the first person they would call would be us.
Yeah.
And sure enough, sure as the sun rises and sets, yeah, that kid was on something. Because again, an old story. You know, these none of these parents think that their kid's is going to lie to them, and they lie to everybody.
Mm.
And I'll ask a parent, "Did you lie to your parents?" Well, yeah. I said, "What makes your kid any different?" It's the natural progression. So there we are. So I think again, with everything that's going on in our world today, and the way we treat all of this, I truly believe this is just a free for all at this point. I don't think that any parent thinks their kid's going to get to the fentanyl stage, but we know differently. We've seen it. We've seen them live. We've seen them die. We've seen them go into recovery. We've seen them relapse. We've seen them do all kinds of things here.
Yeah.
And the most important thing out of all of this, if I could just get this message to everybody, if this is happening in your family, your life, including the person that is using, is going to forever be changed. Forever be changed. Sometimes for the good, a lot of times for the bad. And now you're living in this constantly until that one day where you get that call from the sheriff's department or the coroner that your son or your daughter or your husband or your wife, we've got them and they didn't make it. If you don't think that's going to change your life as a parent or a spouse, man, you are living on another planet.
Yeah.
Because that's disastrous.
Yeah. Well, and we've definitely seen and experienced that if you don't confront the issues in front of you and make those changes, change is going to happen for you in one way or the other. And it tends to be, as you just highlighted and pointed out, fact around it that it'll get changed for you.
Quickly.
Yeah. And then what are you left with? Guilt, shame, resentment, heartache for the rest of
Divorce.
your days. Yeah, all these things.
All
Like
these. All this stuff.
they're all available to you. Like I
Right.
remember.
Right. We will gladly refund your misery.
Yeah. Matter of
As we,
fact,
as
we're gonna double it up for you. Here you
we're
go.
going to double it up. You bet. You bet. I can't tell you how many families I've seen that have wound up in divorce,
Mm.
have wound up with a deceased child, and their worlds have blown apart, just blown apart, because that's something you never get over. As a parent, you're a parent, I'm a parent. The last thing we want is to go before our kids. I mean, I'm sorry, we don't want our kids to go before us in any circumstance, not in any circumstance.
Yeah.
You know, so and at times that's going to happen, whether it's naturally or an accident or something that is out of our control. And I'm going to say this: as much as I believe that addiction is out of the control of the parent, I do believe there is some control there that the parent has. I do.
Yeah.
There are things you can do, even if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not going to give up. Addiction is about not giving up. It's about doing the things that you need to do the right way to help that loved one and to help yourself in the middle of that. That's not being selfish. That's being prudent. That's being smart. And I believe that people are afraid of doing that for whatever reason.
Agreed. Agreed. And I'm not sure what that reasoning is that, and maybe it's a lack of understanding, but I want to leave with, for the listener, if either they or their loved one is going through it, understand that this wonderful brain we have up there, it can be rewired. We do
Yeah.
have neuroplasticity. That's how we learn new skill sets, new traits, new ways of showing up as a human being. And it can happen for you. It can happen for your loved one. There are folks like Flindt, myself. You can definitely contact us here at painnonprofit.org. Find the phone number there, send an email that can help that journey start, because it is a process and it's a challenging process. I'm over 4.5 years now, and I'm still noticing new things firing off and some old things coming up, but having a new way of handling those thoughts, feelings, and emotions and moving through them. And it is a beautiful process and a beautiful way of being, and it's a good way. To
Right.
fall off your words, it's a good way.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
what else you want to leave this episode with, Mr. Anderson?
Look, I just wish that more parents would be involved with their kids, especially during those semi early years when they reach junior high and into high school, and um, because there's more going on there than meets the eye. And I'm not saying that every kid turns to using drugs. That's not what I'm saying. But we've had the good kids do it. We've had the bad kids do it. We've had the kids in between do it. And it's more prevalent than anybody realizes. And just don't be afraid. I know this is old school stuff I'm going to say here, but don't be afraid to get into your kids' business. Don't be afraid to get into that phone. Find out what's going on. There are things you are going to miss. No question about it, because that phone and everything associated with it is changing every single 30 minutes. The content, the language, the this, the that. But if you don't stay on top of this, you have that possibility of winding up in a position that you don't want to wind up in.
Yeah.
So let's hope that the majority of people that see this and listen to this and can make that decision to not be their friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. Anderson, and thank you for listening to Pains Don't Hide the Scars podcast, either Apple Podcast or Spotify. Leave us a rating and review and follow us there, or go over to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/@PainNonprofit. Get subscribed there today. Leave a thumb up on the video, leave a comment, and please share with someone else that you know will get value out of it.